The Puck Portfolio with Andy MacNeil.
Bang. Hey, welcome to the Puck Portfolio. I'm your host, Andy MacNeil, here with my guest, Nick Martin, as usual on Fridays. Nick, how's it going, buddy?
Oh, a little under the weather, and it's -1 in Calgary still. But other than that, great.
Well, I'm glad you're toughing it out. You will be remembered for your perseverance. This show is sponsored by NorthStar Bets. You can check them out via the link in the description below. We are live on the Canada Sports Betting YouTube channel and the Canada Sports Better Twitter account. So you can watch however you so please. But yeah, do us a favor and drop a like on the video, drop a like on the tweet, wherever you're at, and subscribe to the Canada Sports Betting YouTube channel if you don't mind, because it helps out a ton. I'm wearing my Bruins jersey today. I might be wearing it out of the long weekend too. You never know. We'll see. But I'm going to wear it one last time at least. Game 6 tonight. But let's talk about Game 6 between the Carolina Hurricanes and the New York Rangers, which wrapped up last night on Thursday. The Rangers coming back in the third period. A natty hattie from Chris Kreider in the third. 3 straight goals for Kreider. Lifts the Rangers over the Hurricanes 5-3. They had the empty netter that put Carolina away. What did you think of that game and the series overall, Nick? I mean, I think kind of like we laid it out to begin with. The Hurricanes controlled play for the most part, but shot quality prevailed, and the Rangers got the better of that.
Yeah, it did. I think overall the Rangers deserved it, and they were doing more with less time of possession. I think last night's game, I think you have to say that's pathetic from Carolina a little bit. I mean, you can't.
Oh, it's epic choke job.
They never deserved to be up 3-1. I think in the first place was a big part of the story, and you get up 3-1. And I mean, the Kreider goal at the side of the net that just kind of got it all going just can't happen in that moment, I don't think. So I feel like they'll definitely be kicking themselves. I'm not trying to take anything away from the Rangers. It feels like they're really good at getting the most out of those kinds of situations. But I think, yeah, if you're Carolina, you just have to find a way to see that out in Game 6. But I mean, credit the Rangers for a good series overall, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely, and a clutch performance from Kreider. Not the first time he's come up big in the playoffs, but probably the biggest that he's ever come up in the playoffs like that. So crazy to think that he there was a possibility that he wouldn't have even played in that game. So we could have easily saw a Game 7 without that performance. Rangers fans after the game chanting, "We want Boston." I don't blame them. I'd want the Bruins too. But yeah, I mean, hey, we want the Rangers too. Let's just say that. So, of course we do. I mean, that means we're still alive, right? So Boston and Florida getting set to match up tonight in Game 6. Heard from Brad Marchand's mom on Twitter. Didn't actually confirm that her son is going to play on Friday, but more or less said that he's excited and looking to get in there to hopefully force a Game 7. Jim Montgomery saying that Marchand will be a game time decision tonight. As I mentioned on Thursday's live stream, my projection for the Boston Bruins was, plus 124, minus 124 in favor of the Panthers. That was giving a 50-50 chance that Marchand would play. So I'd be down, south of the plus 120 mark for the Bruins if Marchand is in the lineup. The Boston Bruins are currently a plus 128 underdog at NorthStar Bets. The Panthers a minus 148 favorite on the series line. The Bruins plus 400, 4-1. Panthers minus 625. Quickly, Nick, before I get to you, just looking at this, if you're like me and you're hoping that Boston extends the series and hoping that they make it to the Eastern Conference Final, if you want to bet on that happening, I'd recommend just playing the Bruins on the money line, taking your winnings, your initial stake, and rolling that over on whatever the Game 7 line is, which will probably, they closed pretty high in game 5 against Florida. I think it was plus 186 that they closed. I don't see it closing that high. Of course, Marchand was out for that game. So, if assuming that it would be in the around the plus 150, plus 155 range, you're getting closer to 5-1 for a potential payout as opposed to 4-1, which is the current series price. So I'm not on anything at this moment, but I will play Boston at the current odds if it is confirmed that Marchand is indeed in the lineup. Nick, I assume you like the Panthers a little bit more than I do.
Yeah, I like the Panthers, but I'm also in the range of having no play at the current numbers.
Good, I like it.
Yeah. I got them the last ones there in Boston, but this one, I don't know. I think it's close enough. What I do like, I like the under, and I like the first period under in specific. They've moved a bit. I think there's still minus 125s out there. I think that we've seen these trends be quite strong in terms of games 6 and 7 being really low scoring. Outside of that train wreck last night in Carolina, they were averaging about 2.8, so that puts it up to whatever it would be now, 3.1 or something. But the trends are still pretty strong, and we still cashed the first period under in that game, which honestly I thought was a little lucky. I had posted 0-0 and had someone message me saying that it was kind of a bad beat because there's a minute left. And I was happy to just take even getting the one goal because it was pretty wide open. But I don't think we'll see that tonight. I think the Bruins are just so much more competent defense, or maybe I shouldn't say so much more competent. I'm gonna have people coming after me, but I think they are a more competent defensive side than the Rangers. And obviously I have to feel good about where Swayman is at. And then I don't foresee the Panthers allowing as much as they did in game 5. I don't want to say the Bruins caught them off guard there, right? I think they deserve a lot of credit for the way that they played. But I think we'll see more from Florida tonight. And it's kind of the same storyline I'm expecting from Dallas. I think we'll see some adjustments and then bring a sharper game. But I think Boston in specific, we know the way they're going to need to win this game and the way they'll be looking to win it. I think we saw it a lot versus Toronto. Obviously, Toronto offensively isn't what the Panthers are, but I still believe in the Bruins.
I mean, let's be fair. Toronto was a lot better during the regular season offensively than Florida was. So
at even strength, they're right there with them. I think.
Yeah, one thing the Panthers. I've always been a little bit like name value on their, in their specifically in their top 6, really their top 9. They should be a really great offensive team. So it did always, kind of stump me why they weren't better in the regular season. And they do have that ceiling to get up above where the Maple Leafs were. I think they've shown that in this series already. So, but I do think they're a little bit more susceptible, like a team like Toronto, to falling into that trap and not scoring as many goals as you would hope that they would, based on the shot quality and whatnot, and especially considering how Swayman is playing. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's I didn't think we'd be here, to be honest. I don't think anybody did. Now that we're here, you're right. I think the Bruins are a little bit confident heading into this one. So we'll see how that translates. But am I reading you right? You're on the first period under, or are you on the full game under?
I like the first period under the most, depending on what's still out there. But yeah, I would say that's my first look. I like the game under too, but I just feel like you do run into some of these funny endings in these elimination games where teams might pull 3 times and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I like the game total to go under too, but I just thought that I saw slightly more value with the under 1.5.
Yeah, I think that I like that as well. And especially you're kind of, like you said, avoiding those situations where things could get screwy late in the game, like they did in Game 6 in Carolina on Thursday. We've got another Game 6 on Friday. It's the Dallas Stars at the Colorado Avalanche. You alluded to the Stars making some adjustments, and they'll have to. I mean, they didn't play great in the last game. They didn't necessarily play bad, but it wasn't their strongest game of the series. And I guess you could expect that with the Avs. They're back against the walls. They're on the ropes. But, Dallas has been a really good road team, better than they've played at home all season long. So you would expect that they'd play pretty good tonight. The series odds at NorthStar Bets are currently Stars minus 335, Avalanche plus 265. I've got Dallas winning this thing. Let me see here. 79.3% of the time. So yeah, minus 383. So yeah, technically some value on the series line, but I've backed them at plus 105 yesterday. Now we're looking at where we at here. Too many windows open. We've got the Dallas Stars. They're down to plus 102 at NorthStar Bets, but I still think that's a good price. I think they should be a favorite of around a minus 110 favorite. So yeah, I think Dallas is in a good spot here to win this game and win this series. But you'd hope that they would play better than they did in the last game, specifically Ottinger. You would have liked them to have at least one of those goals back. So, yeah, I don't know. Are you with me on the Stars? I'm on them to win the series and this game. So it'd be a nice cash tonight if they are able to get it done. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I feel like anything better than even money is playable. I've told you they're my best possible position, so I'm not adding to it. I just want them to get out of this series. But I do feel like that was a clear, like kind of their biggest letdown game of probably, I guess, outside of the first two versus Vegas. But it feels like everything they've shown this postseason has been really solid, and that even that game could have still gone better for them. So bit of a guessing game to see if Ettinger can bounce back, but I still feel confident about what the Stars have with their edges in terms of depth versus the Avs. The one thing that I do think kind of sucks that I think flew a little under the radar because he hasn't been productive, but Hintz is still used in all situations for them. He's a great defensive player. He's a guy you can put head to head with other top stars.
Yeah.
So yeah, he hasn't produced the way people have dreamed of. He still had some good games in this series in specific, and it is a bad loss. So I do think that's the one thing that scares me a little bit. They have the depth to help cover it and make it like not too much of a loss in terms of replacement value. But I do feel like it's interesting because it almost feels like it's gotten completely forgotten about because he hasn't been like where people had thought he might be this playoffs.
Yeah. And like you said, you look at their lineup, it's like it's easy to look at their lineup and say, wow, even without Rupe Hintz, look at this team, right? Like they're still a really good looking team. But yeah, it is an important loss.
Yeah, and I do actually see some value. I lost on this in the last game, but the one play that I have locked in is the under. I would say it's a half unit at the current prices now, but I just think we're going to see the trends hold true in this one. Sorry, my dog's just drinking some water. I do think we'll see the trends of the lower scoring games 6 and 7 hold true in this one. I think last game you could see was tightening up a little bit. I kind of thought that was the highest scoring version of things. Obviously, Ettinger didn't have his best night. So I think we'll kind of see that hold true. I think we'll see the Stars lean on their really sharp defensive play. And they have done a really good job of making life tough for McKinnon, at least relative to as much as anyone else in the league can do. Tanev's been excellent. Their defensive play has been really good. So I think we'll kind of see that type of game script more of a hard fought coin flip type game where chances are pretty hard to come by. We know penalties tend to dry up in these elimination games as well. So that's a big part of the total, hopefully coming in under. So yeah, I do like the under in this one as well. And I actually see it as really comparable. I was on the under last night in Vancouver and Edmonton, which felt really ugly. I think this is a really similar spot. I think this one can surprise and be kind of more a low event than we've seen from the Avs all playoffs long.
Yeah, speaking of the Vancouver Canucks and the Edmonton Oilers, yeah, quite a no, I wouldn't say a shock, but really after how Edmonton played in games 3 and 4, not so much in game 3, but they played their the most complete game in game 4, and it certainly looked like defensively the Oilers had gotten better each game as far as limiting chances and whatnot, and that was really the case in game 4. The script totally flipped in game 5. The Canucks played by far their best game, not just of the series, but of the playoffs so far. Feels like more of a like 6-2 loss disguised as a 3-2 game. You know what I mean? Like it did not feel like a 3-2 game. And I think that's what you meant when you said that the under, although it did hit, it felt kind of ugly. Because the Canucks, they had a ton of chances. And I mean, per natural stat trick, Vancouver had an 18-10 edge in high danger shot attempts in all situation. Sport Logic's game report, though, from This was from an Oilers Nation article. Slot shots on net 17-10 Vancouver. High danger chances 16-9 Vancouver. Scoring chances off the cycle 17-8 Vancouver. Definitely, they looked really good on the cycle in Game 5. And then, of course, the Oilers power play went 0-4 for the first time in the playoffs. They had 5 opportunities, did not score. This is the same position that the Oilers were in last year. They lost to Vegas at Vegas in Game 5, round 2, and then they came home and they got blown out 5-2 in Game 6. So Edmonton, easily their worst game of the playoffs, probably, and you know, I'd say McDavid's worst game of the playoffs as well, and maybe not just the worst game of the playoffs this year, the worst playoff game we've seen out of McDavid in recent memory, maybe, if you ask me. So I don't know, Nick. What do you see from this Oilers team on Saturday? Because really, I mean, I think there's actually not really any value on the Canucks, but it would be Canucks or nothing really at these current prices. I think they should be priced around. What did I have here? I have Edmonton minus 161, so about roughly a 62% chance of winning Game 6. Not great, quite a bit down from where I started the series at.
Yeah, I actually thought there was really clear when we recorded Line Change last night. The earliest openers out of the regulated books were plus 180, plus 185, which I thought was insane. There's clear value on the Canucks at that, and I'm still with you. I completely think it's Canucks or pass. Yeah, that was their best game of the series. They clearly raised their level, and the Oilers didn't. And I do think that you can make a very clear case that they were lucky to get into that game at 2-2. But I think you also have to weight the way that game went, and the fact that now, if like the Canucks, one thing that I wrote about that game was one reason you could like the Canucks in it was they clearly had more to give. They had more pieces that hadn't contributed up to their level. Whereas it feels like from the Oilers side of things, I don't really think the step up's coming. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really know who I'm counting on to figure it out. I think they're just going to continue to be so reliant on those 5-6 guys. McDavid obviously didn't have his best night. I think it's hard when you're playing 30 minutes a night as a forward and everyone's trying their absolute best to get as many shots in as possible on you. So I think that's the fear for the Oilers. I think we've kind of seen, in games 3 and 4, I don't think you're going to see them play all that much better than that. It feels like, and the Canucks were still able to hang around in those games, and the Oilers were just really had to throw their top guys out every other shift. So yeah, I'm right with you. I think
we saw great performance from Picard on Thursday too. So I mean, can he replicate that again if Vancouver brings the same kind of energy? I don't know. He was lucky on a few instances, and
he was for sure.
So
I mean, and you might even hear some debate with the season on the line. And I don't think it's like, I'm not saying it's fair because Picard's done great, but I still think there's some chance with the season on the line, we're also going to hear some chatter about Skinner.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I don't think it matters a ton either way. I thought in game 4, I mean, it was really obvious if you look at the analytics, Picard was the benefactor of having to do very, very little. I really think that, not trying to hate on him, like, great moment, I really think that any starter would have probably given up 1 or less if you look back on the work that he had to do.
Yeah, they generated like 1 expected goal in that game.
Yeah, and I think that was fair. So, but then, I mean, that was the problem, is they were never going to defend better in that, and the Canucks got some guys that woke up. The new look line with Lindholm and Pettersson looked better. Yeah, and overall, I think Peterson definitely had a better game. So it feels like there's more pieces on the Canucks that have more to give, while the Oilers, it just seems like they're going to keep needing ridiculous performances out of 5 guys to find a way. So we'll see. I like to think that the winner of the Stars-Avs series is going to have a really good chance next round. I think that's the common thinking, but I'm really hoping so if it's Dallas, because it looks like kind of almost as much as the Oilers being a little flawed, like that depth really hasn't played out, the way you'd want. They did split up Nurse and Ceci in game 4, and that did provide some decent results. But then last night didn't quite work out. Nurse had a tougher night again. So yeah, I don't know. It feels like there's way too many question marks to ever consider laying it with the Oilers here. Like I really feel like if you're laying it with the Oilers here, your argument is just basically that you can't imagine them losing the game. But
Yeah, I
feels
just
unrealistic.
laid. Well, I didn't lay. I took a half unit bet on the Canucks at plus 170 here at NorthStar Bets. Um, I don't like it. I want the Oilers to win. If I'm being honest, live in Edmonton, like to see a longer playoff run, uh, and I'm hoping that I lose this bet. But I don't think the line is getting any better than that. Plus 170, Pinnacle right now plus 165. Pretty much every book plus 165 or worse right now. So plus 170 at Northstar looks to be the best price in the market right now. I'll put a small play on the Canucks, a bit of an emotional hedge here, but I actually do think there's some value. I think there's 8 or 9 cents of value here. So yeah, I mean, go Nucks, I guess. But yeah, I don't disagree about the Skinner chatter. I think that will hear that with all day today, sports radio, etc. I think it'll be something that they consider. I don't think Skinner's broken by any means. I think he is a good goaltender. I think that it might be something that goalie coaching could fix in the future. I don't know, but yeah, pretty pretty tough spot to be in. The Oilers were a big series favorite, and even throughout this series, when they were down at various points, they were, still a series favorite, right? So, I think Oilers fans are going to have a tough time living this one down if it doesn't go their way. But I think we also kind of deserve a game 7 here, considering the momentum has shifted back game to game. Not one team has really owned the series, throughout. It's been a game, a back and forth kind of thing. And so it wouldn't surprise me at all to see Edmonton dominate game 6 in the way that Vancouver dominated game 5. And then we'll get that game 7 that we all want. So anyway, I think that pretty much does it. Nick, you said you're feeling out of the weather. I don't want to keep you here too long. You got to go, get a blanket and get some tea or something. Put a little bit of honey in there. I don't know.
That's what I've got here. A little Neo-Citrin. Yeah, I've been struggling today.
My wife likes Neocitrin too much. She'll take it when she's not sick, and I think that's kind of weird. So,
Yeah, I tend to be in a bad mood if I'm drinking it. So,
yeah. Well, you weren't in a bad mood today, man. Thanks for joining the show. Thanks for giving out a couple of picks. Like I said, I'm on the Stars plus 105 from yesterday. I like them down to even money at the current odds, plus 102 at NorthStar Bets, and a small play on the Canucks for Game 6 on Saturday, plus 170 currently at NorthStar Bets. Nick's on the under first period in Dallas and Colorado, and he's also on. You are on the under the game
under
in
game in
Edmonton.
the Stars.
Yeah, under game in the Stars. That's right. All right. So yeah, under in the Stars, full game, and under first period in Boston.
I mean, not
in
that I'd
Florida.
be, objecting to, the first period under either. I think it was at like plus 110. So don't hate that.
All right. Sounds good. Well, as always, good luck with your bets. I'll see you after the long weekend. I don't think the conference finals are going to get started until Tuesday at at the earliest. It sounds like. So hopefully we don't have to come back any earlier than Tuesday. But enjoy your long weekend and good luck with your bets. I'll see you on Tuesday.